we are going to get into Raja Jackson. I'm pretty certain everyone here is aware of the whole Raja Jackson situation, what happened. Excuse me. But we'll kind of backtrack a little bit. Go over here. He has officially been charged, so want to, of course, discuss that. And this article here kind of gives a pretty good rundown, and then I'll dive into your comments too. But if you haven't seen the footage, obviously I'm not going to show it here. I don't even know if I can, but not going to show it. But it was not great, to say the least. Like, Raja went in there. Syko Stu was the wrestler. He was in there. It was at a Knox Pro event in Los Angeles. Syko Stu was in there, and he was, I forget the opponent that he was facing off against, but his opponent was kind of coming off the ropes, so Syko Stu was facing him. Raja was kind of sitting where the view was, the most popular camera view was kind of on the outside of the ring where Raja was sitting, kind of in the far right turnbuckle area. Raja or Syko Stu would have been in the ring towards the left area. And Raja had been talking about how he was planning on going in there and pretty much fucking him up. And I don't want to say words that I'm not 100% aware, but pretty much going in there and just fucking him up. Long story short. You guys can go out there and find the footage. He pretty much live streamed the entire thing. There's video clips of it too, so you guys can go out there and find the exact verbiage. But he was planning on going there and pretty much like beating him up for real, and pretty much like making him pay, like long story short of it. And kind of payback, retribution, whatever you want to call it, for Syko Stu earlier in the day. I believe it was like maybe an hour or so prior. Maybe the article will say it here. I haven't read it fully because I'm going to read it here with you guys. But it was earlier in the day where Syko Stu was backstage. A bunch of wrestlers were pretty much, it looked like in like a parking lot area before the show, drinking, having some beers, whatever. Again, maybe not the best idea, but it is what it is. Who am I to judge? And Syko Stu crushed a beer can over Raja's head. Again, probably not the best idea, but it looks like after that Syko Stu had apologized for it and pretty much like kind of like said, I thought you were a wrestler. He saw the cameras and thought it was pretty much like a show. So that's why he did what he did. Apparently it wasn't squashed. But yeah, that was kind of how it started. It was interesting though, because like I said, I hope it references here, and if you guys know, let me know how much time had passed between the whole can smashing against the forehead or the head itself, the side of the head, and then the events later on. But to me, it seemed like everything was addressed, and to me that was one of the most perplexing parts. I was like, dude, like if you were that pissed, like why? And he did react, Raja, he did, like he did react, like not physically, but he did turn around and kind of, get in his face. But it was squashed after that, it seemed. And again, maybe to Raja it wasn't. I don't know. And it may, to be fair, his name, but we'll see. Well, there's later footage where one of the wrestlers were saying, like get a receipt or something like that. So that definitely didn't help shit, right? But to me, you still know. And unless something was fully discussed between everyone involved or everyone that was going to be involved, with it being Jackson, Syko Stu, the other wrestler that Syko Stu is facing against, the referee. Not saying everyone needed to be involved, but obviously the key fucking people, right? If that wasn't hashed out, then no receipt should have been given at all, in my opinion, period. They're especially bum rushing the dude, like I'm assuming everyone here has seen the footage again, right? Just in between that and the shit that he was talking about, like just like getting more and more amped up, like working himself up even more. And then the people in his chat were not helping either. This people in his chat talking about how like you're gonna let him do that, like disrespect you, blah blah blah, like just not helping matters at all, right? But at the end of the day, like you need to not be a hothead, like you need to be level headed. Now, to be fair and point out all sides, right, and on all aspects. Apparently, Raja had suffered a concussion a few days prior. So he probably, not no doctor here, probably should not have been in that type of environment, period. Doing anything physical, right? If you wanted to go there as a fan, cool, but probably shouldn't have been doing anything physical. And again, if that is the case and he did sustain a concussion prior, what Syko Stu did, crushing the can over his head, definitely didn't help shit out either. Not blaming him at all, just laying out the facts, you know what I mean? Or what supposedly are the facts from the information that we have right now. But again, like just another reason why there needs to be boundaries too. Like no matter who you are, celebrity wise, like you shouldn't be like in backstage in certain areas where the wrestlers are. Like yes, they didn't have a typical locker room setup, but like if that's where the boys are changing it, like in my opinion, like your average like person shouldn't be back there, whether you're just Joe Schmo like me or you're a content creator, you're a celebrity, doesn't matter. Like you shouldn't just be able to just go back where they are, or there should be pretty much like an introduction, like all right, like so and so is about to come back here, like they're filming, but like it's nothing physical, like like they're just filming, like they're just live streaming type shit, and like just kind of like set the stage, and so that way everyone is aware and shit like this doesn't happen, you know what I mean? So there's just a lot of things that I feel like went wrong leading up to what happened in the ring. So it's just really fucking sad, dude, because all this could have been avoided. So yeah, I'm gonna get to your comments for sure on it. But the article itself, so just a little bit of backstory. Again, just crazy shit. If you haven't seen the video, it's very graphic because the second Raja like pretty much like picks him up and like fireman carries like slams him down, like you can tell Stu was just out of it. So all just the beatings to the head were just while he's unconscious. My opinion. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but it just dude was not able to defend himself at all. And the fact that it took people around him so long to break it up, it's like, bro, like what are we doing? Like what are we doing? Like go fucking help him. You know what I mean? Oh, just wild. But the article itself regarding the charges. This over. All right, so Rajah Jackson pleads not guilty to battery charges after assaulting pro wrestler, faces up to 7 years in prison if convicted. And this is courtesy of MMAfighting.com, so shout out to them. I'll throw it in the notes. But it looks like it's by Damon Martin, so shout out to him. Rajah Jackson pleaded not guilty in court on Thursday after he was hit with a felony battery charge and a misdemeanor battery charge for assaulting a pro wrestler at an event in Los Angeles this past August. After he was arrested in September and released on $50,000 bail, Jackson, the son of former UFC light heavyweight champion Quentin Rampage Jackson, was back in court for his arraignment after the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office moved forward with the criminal complaint against him. The two charges, and I'll get back to that once we wrap up here. The two charges include sentencing enhancement for allegedly causing, quote unquote, great bodily injury, which could add an extra 3 years to a prison sentence. Based on the charges, Jackson could potentially face 7 years in prison if convicted. The 25-year-old is due back in court November 24th for a preliminary hearing setting. For a preliminary hearing setting in his case. Jackson, a pro fighter, was arrested in September after he assaulted Stuart Smith, ring name Syko Stu, during a Knox Pro event in Los Angeles where Jackson was scheduled to appear. The entire altercation unfolded after Jackson was scheduled to interfere in a match, but ultimately went off script, where he picked up Smith up into the air and slammed him back down to the ground. Jackson then proceeded to unleash more than 20 punches, many of which landed after it appeared that Smith was already unconscious, before other wrestlers were finally able to drag him off. Smith was admitted to a local hospital where he spent several days in intensive care with family members later revealed he suffered trauma to both the upper and lower jaws, a laceration to his upper lip, and a fracture to the maxilla bone, which resulted in the loss of several teeth from the assault. Jesus. Prior to the in-ring incident, Smith and Jackson were engaged in a separate incident when Smith hit Jackson with a beer can prior, believing Jackson was another pro wrestler involved to help hype the show. Video showed Smith later apologizing, and the two shook hands. Jackson, which we just talked about, Jackson was then seen on a live stream saying he was going to get his revenge, quote unquote, for real, after jumping into the ring for the planned showdown with Smith. The vicious assault was captured on the live stream, which led to an investigation by LAPD before Jackson was eventually arrested and hit with the two separate charges. Jackson has not publicly addressed the incident since it happened. He now faces a potential prison sentence if convicted on all charges. Wow. Just wild shit, dude. Wild shit. Some people were saying or believing that he could be hit with attempted charges. I don't know. Obviously, like I ain't involved in that shit. Like I don't know what it takes to really determine that. There is always a possibility that they add more charges and upgrade certain charges, or just add charges, period. But 7 years is no joke, dude. 7 years in prison is no joke. And it's just sad that it got to that point. It's sad that certain things weren't done prior to prevent it. I don't know. It's just fucking wild because the dude pummeled him, bro. Like, if again, like the video speaks for itself, in my opinion. Like, he just pummeled him, and then later on, like after it happened, like I think it was in like a parking lot or something, and the dude was still streaming and still like just, I don't know if there was ever a break or like he was just live streaming still the entire time. After they ended up breaking it up, because even while Jackson was still on top of Stu and the wrestlers were trying to break him up, he was still trying to go after him. And it's like, dude, fucking stop, man. Like, stop. Like, it's not like Stu is sitting there like pushing you back and like y'all are like, like in a physical like altercation, like it's mutual, you know what I mean? Like, and Stu is like swinging and like throwing punches and shit. It's like he's fucking out, dude. Like, drop it. Like, even if this was an MMA fight, like fucking drop it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no setting where that would have been allowed. Doesn't matter if it's like UFC, boxing, whatever. Like, the second Stu would have been down and unconscious, like the referee would have gotten in there, separated, and like you would have been expected to stop. Like, there's just no excuse for the continuation of it. And that's why there's something like, dude needs help. Like, dude, my opinion, just needs help. You know what I mean? But back to the parking lot thing, I don't remember exactly what the dude who was recording it or streaming it said, but no, it was actually when Jackson was on the phone. He was on the phone or something, and he was getting like an update, and he just said like "my bad" or some shit, just like completely downgraded it. And I was just like, you can at least be like apologize, dude. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll get information once the case goes on that he has sent apologies. I don't know. Maybe there's obviously information we don't know, right? So maybe that's included in that. My hopes aren't high though. I'm gonna go into your chats now. But yeah, guys. So November 24th is the preliminary hearing in the case. So definitely we'll be on lookout for that for a follow up and a continuation. Yeah, CJ says, speaking of Raja, the DA needs to throw the book at him. Sai said, what bothers me just as much about the Raja Jackson situation is that after he knocked Syko Stu unconscious, the other guy pinned him and the ref counted it. Madness. Very fucking good point, dude. Like, are you serious? Like, no. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, the last thing that should have been on anyone's mind is finishing the match, dude. Like, come on. I don't care about the wrestling at that point. Like, Are you absurd? Like, come on, dude. Come on. Yeah, he sighs. How the fuck does he plead not guilty? I wasn't really surprised by that. Unless he was just looking to settle this and just be done with it. But probably is not surprised. You said I was slash am a big fan of his dad, Rampage, same, who at least apologized. Raja has always been trouble. Rampage has a college fund set up for two sons and bill money for Raja. Not a joke. I heard that shit, dude. Yep, I heard that shit. And that's sad. It's really sad. Um and I did see a clip too where Rampage was like, look, like he's just a I'm his father, I can only do so much. I'm gonna support him, but I can only do so much. Like, like what he did was wrong, like he needs to, be responsible, like he needs to pretty much like own up to his shit. So, you know, yeah. So he said Raja did not apologize. He said, my bad. Yep, for fuck's sake. Yeah, dude. Yep. He was and again, he said he was unconscious. He's had to retire. He's a veteran as well. Yeah. So Syko Stu was doing it because he was a veteran and he was looking for an outlet to pretty much just like channel everything that he was going through internally. So wrestling was his outlet, and now that's been taken away from him. And can you imagine like what he was already dealing with that led him into wrestling? Now all the trauma that he's gonna have to deal with because of this. It's just fucking sad, dude. Fucking sad. Yeah, Fernando, certain shit is weird, dude. Certain like YouTube has like certain like words that they don't like you to say. So I don't really know. I wish they had like a fucking like script. But yeah. Other channels have gotten in trouble for it. And Fernando, you said he almost beat him to death. He deserves 8 years in prison. He deserves the max, in my opinion. Yeah. CJ says zero regard for human life. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, guys, so I at least wanted to touch on that, give it a little bit more spotlight. For Syko Stu, man. Like, yeah, like it got a lot of attention originally, but like the dude is still dealing with shit. So shout out to him, and I just hope he's good. It's only been since August. A lot of ways it feels like it's been like forever, like because we've all been sitting here waiting, like, okay, like what are they doing with him? Like why haven't they done X, Y, and Z? So at least we've gotten some progress on that, and just hold him accountable. And not for nothing, I hope monetarily, Syko Stu is gonna be compensated. So at least he can do whatever he needs to do. You know what I mean? It's a shame.